All right, now let's go ahead and get on to the free agency. Like I said, I got a little bit ahead of myself before because I'm so excited about this. I love free agency so much. I geek out big time checking my phone all day long. Let's start with the Rangers. We're going to start in the AL West today, which doesn't happen often, but it's going to because the Rangers have signed Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, and John Gray to a total of $556 million guaranteed. Semien has 7 years, 175. Seager got 10 years, 325, got a bag. And then John Gray got 4 years, 56 million. And I'm curious if maybe the Rangers GM thought that he was getting Sonny Gray and not John Gray, because
I think
that's a lot of money.
I don't think Simeon was totally over the top money wise.
Semien, I feel like, is like right there. That's what I'd have given him.
I feel like he got paid properly.
Mm-hmm.
John Gray, Sonny Gray, I'm not real sure. Seems like a lot of money.
Well, and this is the thing with John Gray, is a guy coming out of Colorado playing for the Rockies and still being desirable to anybody. I feel like it says something about him, right?
That's true. That is true.
I do still feel like he's probably overpaid.
Seager,
that's a lot of money.
A lot of money
for a dude. So Seager, my big pause with him is like a lot of Mariners fans are like, oh, we got to keep Kyle Seager and bring in Corey Seager to play next to him or play second base. I'm like, that dude had Tommy John surgery, and I know he's not a pitcher, but a fielder who plays like he does, I would be very, very leery of a guy coming off of Tommy John surgery, especially at only 27 years old.
I was going to say I couldn't remember if he was creeping on 30. So 27, 10, he's 37 by the time that contract's up.
Yeah.
But
the 10 years makes sense to me. Like, that's not outrageous because he's not going to be over the hill. Like, he'll be out of his prime by then because he'll probably be out of his prime by the time he's 32, 33. But at the same time, it makes sense for them to show some loyalty with 10 years to get a guy to 37.
It's the money, I think, that because like to me, you're paying him. I'd have to look back, and we'll get on him later. But Bryce Harper's deal was 12 years. It was over 300.
I think he was 12 years, 350.
Yeah,
is what
so
he
you're
was.
telling me that Corey Seager is in the same ballpark.
That's more per year. More. Yeah.
I'm not a Bryce Harper advocate, but I just don't see that. I think it's a slight overpay.
Yeah, I agree with you. Especially he didn't even play 100 games this year. Looks like I believe he had Tommy John in 2018 because he played 26 games there. He played 134 games in 2019 coming back from TJ. But still, I mean, he does hit a hair below 300. And part of that is the year coming back after Tommy John. He hit 272. I feel like he's a good fielder, and he definitely came in the clutch for the Dodgers. He does that in the postseason every year,
right.
And he was the World Series MVP. So you might have to overpay for him, but not that much. I don't feel like you got to overpay that much.
I'm just trying to think who is in the Rangers rotation right now.
That's their issue. They don't have any pitching, and they don't have any money to get pitching. Like, I was talking to my buddy Jewel, who's actually going to be on in a couple weeks. I was like, that's a whole lot of money for the Rangers to finish fourth, because the only reason I think they're going to finish fourth is because the A's are having a fire sale and they're going to finish fifth. Like, they still don't have any pitching. They can't pay anybody to get any pitching there. And we've seen in the last couple of years with the Padres and the Angels continue to pay guys and continue to lose. You've got to have pitching.
Jack, I always mess his name up. Jack Lytle. Is that how you say it? The Vanderbilt pitcher.
Oh, Jack Leiter?
Leiter. He's got a lot of potential, but he's still a long way from it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's probably your next potential ace, but that's still only one guy.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to win today without it. I mean, really, you need three dogs on the mound. In a 7-game series, you need 3 legit starters.
And 3 good relievers.
Right.
One of them being a closer. Yeah. And they don't have it. They don't have it in Texas. They're going to have to make some moves. And the nice thing for them is that like John Gray, good piece right now for that pitching staff, but he's only there for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Seager's there for 10, Simeon's there for 7. You know, you might see them start to contend towards the middle of Simeon's contract, but at the same time, is he gonna get disgruntled and want out if they continue to lose?
Right.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. And then another team that spent a bunch of money over the last week, and especially today, Monday, the 29th of November, was the New York Mets. They got Starling Marte, Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, and Max Scherzer today. 3 years, $130 million. Talking about getting a bag. Wow.
37 years old.
And he has an opt-out after 2 years.
I didn't even read that he had an opt-out yet.
So if he is disgruntled with playing for the Mets at the age of 40, he can go play somewhere else and chase a ring.
You know, I've always been a big fan of Starling Marte, and it really just goes back to that was the first baseball player I ever seen in person at the minor league level.
Who looked like a freak.
Yeah, like he was just so much better than everybody else on the field. This was in single A ball in West Virginia, and you could just see that he was the best guy on the field. So I've always had kind of a soft spot for Marte. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a terrible signing. I don't get giving Scherzer that much money.
Well, and especially since in the NLCS, he said that his arm was dead. And granted, he's been pitching all season after a shortened season last year in 2020, and coming in pitching this full year and then pitching on short rest in the NLCS. Like, that's still not a good sign for a guy who's 37 to be saying that his arm's dead when you need him the most.
And
so
I really I thought he was going to come back to Washington. I'm not going to lie. I really did. I'm glad that he didn't, because if we would have had to give him that.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the same thing. I was talking with Jewel about that. Like, man, we need to, like, Scherzer would be awesome in Seattle. Like a mentor, lead this team to the playoffs, and, you know, just like cement that legacy, you know. And then when we saw 130 million, like, no, you can have him in New York. We don't need him.
And the thing is, they're gonna pay him $130 million for them still to finish third in the division.
Exactly, because they're going to continue to met the bed.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, Atlanta is only going to get better.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to admit that, Atlanta, like, you just won a World Series without Ronald Acuna, your best player.
Well, and who was their pitcher that was out this year with? They had a pitcher out this year because of an Achilles, and he's going to come back.
That rotation's just going to be really, really good, and it's just like, how do you give a guy that's 37 years old $130 million, and then you're literally going to finish third? Because I think Philly is probably going to finish second.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Philly's weird. I say this every week. I feel like Philly's weird. I feel like they underachieve every single year. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I do expect them to finish second, but I wouldn't at the same time be surprised if they finished third. If they finished third above the Mets.
The Phillies are that team to me that I'll just go and say they're never going to win a World Series with Bryce Harper. Because this leader that Bryce Harper has became, I think it's kind of a mask in a sense. The next time that adversity hits, we're going to see really how much of a leader Bryce Harper is.
I do feel like he's matured in Philly, though. I'll give him that. Like, I really feel like he has. Because when Andrew McCutchen got injured, he was the one who stepped up and was the example. You know, he might not necessarily be the guy on the field. Like, he's kind of like the Hayward from the 2016 World Series. You know, like, he was over pretty much in that series, but still he stands up and he rallies the troops going into extra innings after a rain delay in Game 7 of the World Series, and they go on and win because of what he said. You know, Harper, everybody's getting on his case for going over at the end of the season when they needed those games to get into the playoffs, getting swept by the Braves. But at the same time, he has done things to that team to help them continue to move. And I think that it's going to get better. I think he was kind of feeling himself in that role this year and seeing that I can play this role because, you if you think about it, like he's always been the young prima donna in the clubhouse. He came in really, really young into the big leagues, like really young. There was no reason for him to have been the voice the voice of leadership in that clubhouse, was the voice of reason. Even when he played JUCO baseball, he was like 17 years old with a GED. Those guys were all 20, 21 years old. Why were they going to listen to this kid coming in who was the prima donna who was going to go play Major League Baseball in 3 years?
How many games did McCutchen play before he went down?
I'm not sure. Let me see if I can find it real quick, though. McCutchen was in when I saw him come to Arizona in July, I think it was. He played a total of – so this year he played a total of 144 games. It was 2019, he played 59 was all.
So McCutchen played 120 games this year, roughly.
144 this year.
144, so –
yeah.
But a lot of people kind of look at it as Harper stepped up this year into that role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't buy it with Harper. I have to see more of it. I still don't think they're going to win with him. I just don't think he's a winner.
And that's one of the things too is when they traded or when they had him sign that deal, I told my buddy, I was like, they have to win a World Series in 4 or 5 years, or they got to trade him. They have to, because he's not going to be the answer if they haven't won one by then.
Right.
So I think I see him getting traded to an American League team here in the next. Well, I guess not, because we're going to have the DH in the National League here pretty soon, most likely. So I do think he'll be traded probably in 2 years, though. Maybe the deadline.
Where do you think he'll go, though?
Somebody who needs a DH. I'd bring him in as a DH. He's a subpar fielder. Like, he's serviceable, but you can get somebody else out there who's better. So, but I don't know. I think it would just depend on who's contending at that time, you know. So, but no. Back to what you're saying about Starling Marte, though. Like, I think he's a really good piece. I like him a lot. I was telling one of my buddies, I was like, I like Starling Marte, but to me, he's not a guy to build around. He's more of a candlestick than a centerpiece.
Mm.
He's a really good complementary piece, but you're not going to win a World Series if he's your best hitter.
No.
And they saw that in Oakland.
I agree with that 100%. He's not a superstar. He's that guy that fits there and just he just produces silently.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that's what he does, is he produces. He does what you need him to do, but he's not going to do anything beyond that. He's not going to go above and beyond it. But let's talk Astros for just a minute. They re-signed Justin Verlander for 1 year. Honestly, that's kind of where he belongs. I mean, he's 38 years old, coming off of Tommy John, and he missed, it was weird to me because he missed almost that entire shortened season. Brig and I kept saying he's going to need Tommy John. It sounds like he needs Tommy John. Then finally, middle of September, Verlander needs Tommy John. We've been telling you, just get it done, man.
Right.
And so he missed this entire year, and now he's coming back as he's going to be 39 when the season starts. And they said that he was throwing 95 at that workout for all those scouts, but I mean, that might have been kilometers, if you're asking me.
Verlander's he's one of the greats, in my opinion.
He is. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure.
Now, really, he's just kind of securing some money at this point. Houston, I think they kind of proved it this year. Houston's going to compete. They're going to continue to compete.
They know how to develop players for sure.
Yeah.
That's 100%. I don't think he's necessarily going to anchor that staff anymore, but he's going to be a solid veteran presence for the guys coming up and a voice of leadership in the clubhouse that they're going to need. They're going to be without Correa. Alex Bregman cannot seem to stay healthy. And Jose Altuve seems to struggle in the postseason these days. Forgets how to throw the ball to first base somehow. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works, but no, Verlander I feel like is going to need to be there if they're going to continue to contend, because they could have some major issues without a voice of reason in that clubhouse.
I can't throw their names out off the top of my head, but I know they've got the 2 legit starters. There's a third guy in there that I'm missing.
Oh man, why can't I think? I know who you're talking about. They have that starter, that rookie Vasquez. Who's just a beast.
So there, you're
He's a
looking at
problem.
if you have three, like I said, three legit starters, and you have a bullpen game or a bullpen game in Game 4 of any series, you've legit got a chance to win.
Mm-hmm. So it's Framber
Verlander,
Valdez is who I was thinking of, and then Luis Garcia.
yeah. So then, even if Verlander's your third guy in that rotation, if he can come out and give you 4 solid innings,
Mm-hmm.
and then 4, you hope more for 5, 6. But if he can do that, then they can still win what they got.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I've been saying it for a long time. Kyle Tucker, to me, is one of
The
the
account,
most underrated players in Major League Baseball right now. He is actually number 2 for the Astros this year in WAR with 5.7 behind Correa. Like that guy, I remember him coming up the first time I saw him come up to the plate. I think it was in the World Series a couple years ago. I was like, "Who's this guy?" And then he goes and doubles off the wall, hits like a rope. I'm like, "Who's this guy? Shoot!" They just
that's
keep
what
bringing him.
I got a buddy that calls him the accountant because he looks like he should probably be working on Wall Street, but he's
That's
just got
exactly what I said. He looks like an accountant.
the
100%.
no, the Astros, like you said, they develop talent well. They're going to continue to be good. It's kind of it's not that people are chasing them down, but in a way they kind of are. The Yankees are the Yankees. They can't get over the hump.
Well, they can't get out of their own way either.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything. I saw this morning that there was talks about them possibly dealing Gary Sanchez, but they can't seem to get the value they want out of him because there's no value, and they think there is value.
Him? I mean, honestly, and this is what has been talked about with the Nats a little bit, like, I'm going to take a flyer on Clint Frazier right now before I'm going to take on, like, Gary Sanchez. It's just not – I mean, different positions, but, like, there's no value to me in Gary Sanchez. Really, when you look at the Yankees roster across the board, there's a lot of big names and a whole lot of money, but there's no guy on there that I'm going to try and sell my farm to get.
Right. Not even Judge these days, especially not Stanton.
Judge, Stanton, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, probably the next best thing they got coming up is Dominguez, but he's still got a long way to go. He's just, I mean, is he 18 yet? He might be 18 now.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
But he looks like he's going to be a stud.
But that's one.
Way.
And he's a long way. Yeah. Yep. Speaking of Frazier, I got a different Frazier for you. The Mariners traded for Adam Frazier from the Padres. I could not have been more excited about this. Jerry DiPoto got his guy. He tried to make a deal for him at the trade deadline with the Pirates, and he got the Padres came in there last second and scooped him out from underneath him. He was an all-star this year. He struggled in San Diego, but everybody else did too. So I don't have a problem with that, especially in that second half of the season. There was a dumpster fire down there. So I'm not going to hold anything against him as far as how things went in the second half of the season. But he fills a hole for sure because the Mariners specifically said going into the offseason, we want a full-time second baseman.
Right.
Abraham Toro filled that hole this year after the trade deadline, and he did outstanding. But he is more of a third baseman. He's built like a third baseman. He's got the speed or lack thereof of third baseman. He's definitely got the glove and the arm, so I'm happy about that. But Frazier is going to be awesome filling in that hole at second base.
You talking about a guy that's kind of like he's went from really 2 bad situations, and now he's going to be in Seattle with a fresh start. I mean, with Pittsburgh, we know how Pittsburgh is. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not big on Pittsburgh fans, whatever, but they deserve better.
They do. And that's the problem, is that most fan bases do deserve better than what they have. And I never thought hear anybody saying he's going to Seattle referring to it being a better situation than either Pittsburgh or San Diego.
Well, and I mean, really, with San Diego is, I think Tatis and Machado are both really, I mean, they're superstars in a sense, but there just seems like there's something's going to go down there if they don't get it straightened out. And there's so much talent in San Diego, but I wouldn't want to play in San Diego right now.
No, I wouldn't want to. And I talked about this a while ago. I can't remember if it was here or in Jason's podcast, but I was talking about how I feel like a lot of what went down, especially with Tatis towards the end of the season, was frustration trying to learn a new position in the middle of the season. Center field is a hard place to play, and you're playing at the big league level. I can't imagine how hard that is, especially going from the infield. Like, you can go from one of the corner outfields to center field and be mostly comfortable, but going from shortstop to center field, those aren't even in the same time zone.
And the thing is, too, though, I mean, we have to give him his due. Like, to be able to do that is, I mean, that just tells you what kind of athlete he is.
Yeah, and that is the thing, is that they had the trust in him because he is a tremendous athlete.
I mean, Absolutely. To me, Tatis is probably a top 5 player under 25. He's for sure top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
If he's not the best player in baseball in the next 5 years, he's going to be the top 3.
I could see that.
I just hope that it doesn't fall apart in San Diego.
I'd like to see him do well. I'd like to see that team do well, especially with the reign of terror that the Dodgers have had on the NL West. And, the Giants coming out of nowhere was refreshing, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to hold. I don't think that they're going to stick around up there. I think this was kind of a one-year wonder for them. But real quick with the Mariners, made another deal today. Robbie Ray, 5 years, $155 million. Looking at the Scherzer deal and how much the Rangers paid for Seager, I'm like, that's a steal. That's such a good deal.
Yeah.
Especially for the reigning Cy Young Award winner. Holy smokes. That's the piece that we need.
You're getting 2 more years than what you're getting with what you would have got with Scherzer. Because we both said you'd love to see Scherzer in Seattle, but not for that type of money. You're getting a guy for 2 more years. Like you said, reigning Cy Young. It's a good deal.
Yeah, I think it's a great deal. And the other guy that the Mariners have talked about is getting Chris Bryant. And I'll say it again. I feel like the Giants saying they feel like his glove is subpar and his swing isn't going to age well is like the guy who breaks up with the girl and says, "Yeah, dude, she's a 6." Like, no, she's a solid 9 at least. That's what that feels like to me.
Are they trying to lower his value?
Maybe take him off the market. Come on back. We'll give you some money. It might not be what you wanted, but we'll give it to you.
Chris Bryant's a guy that I look at. I think he could be a legit leader in the clubhouse for a team that wants him. Yeah. I don't feel like that Chicago really wanted him towards the end of his tenure there. And they were selling the farm anyway in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
And for the Giants to talk like that, like,
oh, I wouldn't go back there at all.
No.
Wouldn't be looking
if
anywhere near
back there, I'm going back there in a different uniform to smash home runs into the bay.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I would love to have Chris Bryant at third base. I did fall in love with Abraham Toro this season, but Chris Bryant is an upgrade, and I'll take it for sure.
And a guy you got coming up shortly,
Julio Rodriguez.
Dude.
President of the J-Rod fan club right here.
He's looked pretty awesome, what I've seen him so far this year. Or should I say last year?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. He's legit, man. He is going to be really good. I don't know if he's going to come up this year. He hasn't played above Double-A yet. So I'm sure he won't be on the opening day roster, but that outfield is really crowded, especially if you got Fraser, Bryant, and Toro trying to fill second base and third base and then outfield positions. It's a really crowded outfield, so it might be later on in the year before we see him, but they have said that he's not on the trade block. Like, he is off limits. Nobody's trading for him.
And he should,
even though they could get a haul for him.
Considered.
Yeah, exactly.